Hi, everyone. This is Faith Howard Mooney, VP of Member Engagement from the Mortgage Collaborative. And on Inside the TMC family today, we have with me Scotty Pickle, who is the CFO of Celebrity Home Loans. Thanks for doing this with me, Scotty.
Great. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it. So let's get started.
Yeah. So share with us, we're going to get to know you a little bit better today. So share with us what your first job ever was.
Oh, goodness. I take you back to probably age 15. I was a lifeguard at the public pool in Hamilton, Alabama, where I grew up. And I tell folks all the time that I really didn't save many lives, but I did a lot of babysitting. We probably had 80 kids every day that parents would dump off just to give them a break there, and so I spent a lot of time babysitting kids as a young guy, as a teenager. But that's still one of the best jobs I ever had. So I had to clean the pool. That was probably the hardest thing I did, but I always had good money in my pocket. It was a great job. So maybe I'd love to go back to it, but those days are gone.
That does sound like that's a good kid job to be at the pool for the summer. That's fantastic.
Right.
Share with us how long you've been in the mortgage industry, and then tell us your story about what drew you in and has gotten you to stay.
Well, it's a funny one, I guess. I'm not a lifer in the industry, as I say around celebrity. We've got some lifers in the industry, and I'm not one of them. But in my early days, in my 20s, I was a controller for a chattel lender, which was part of a manufactured housing company. It was a public company in Cavalier Homes at that time, and started a finance company. And that finance company did only chattel lending. And ironically enough, when I'm 28 years old or so, we started making a shift from being a chattel lender and looked to become a mortgage company. And instead of me staying in that mortgage business at that time, I took a job to run the IT division on an SAP implementation at that time. And I'm 28 years old. Okay, I don't know nothing about anything at this point. And so I took that change in job for money primarily, and really left a track that would have kept me probably in the mortgage business for most of my life. Instead, I moved along that, did that for a couple of years, and then moved into manufacturing. We were a manufacturing company. And I ran a manufacturing plant at age 30 at that time, and did that for a number of years. 2011, I am doing contract CFO work, and the company that I left had been sold twice. The finance company I'm just telling you about had been sold twice, and the president of that company calls me and says, "We need somebody to originate loans locally." Okay, now I'm a contract CFO this time. I said, "Well, what does it pay?" It pays 1% loan amount. Okay, what I got to do? Well, you just got to get people to the door. We'll handle everything else. You just got to get people to refinance. I'm like, okay, I'm a personal financial planner for all my clients. At the time, I had 200 clients, and so I just started going through each one that had mortgage interest and call them up. What's your rate? Here, if I save you $200-300, you want to refinance. I began to originate loans in 2011 for CIS Financial Services, which was the predecessor company, was part of Cavalier Homes back in the 90s. And I don't know why, still to this day, that I left originating, because I equated it. I always said I've made about $400 an hour for what I was putting into it. And I'm like, this stuff's easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. I was getting 3-4 loans a month and not even trying. And then the company sold in 2012 to an individual out of California, and they needed a CFO. And so I agreed to do some contract CFO. And the next thing you know, 6 months later, a sales executive left, and yeah, I can kind of take over an additional role. And next thing you know, I spent 7-8 years with CIS Financial Services. And then 2018, I moved over to Celebrity Home Loans. So what I call core good hard 10 years in the industry, but some roots in housing and the real estate world and other financing, all the way back to age 24 when I joined Cavalier. So a good 25 years ago.
It is fun to look back and see how one little turn one way or the other can kind of make a difference in where you end up. But it's like you were so close to mortgage and it eventually got you in your backyard.
It did. It did.
Like in your blood, I always say. People usually don't leave once they're attached in there. Was there one thing that when you came in even 10 years ago that it's like, oh, I wish I would have known that, when I started, and now it's like a really clear thing, something that would be helpful to people coming into our industry?
Yeah, for me, I don't know if it's anything I've known, but I can tell you as a CFO, there's a lot of easier accounting jobs out there than our industry for sure. But if I really pinpointed one thing, I probably just pinpointed. Had I known the potential, lucrative opportunity to stay the course and learn through the business, especially with the background that I had, maybe I would have never took that job to lead that SAP implementation and go get in the manufacturing side of the world. And I would have stayed in the mortgage business at age 29, 30 and become a lifer, because I have saw the opportunities. Not that there's not some downs, right? The folks will be watching this and say, well, Scotty, you missed some pretty tough years along the way too, right? I got to skip some bad stuff through all of that. But it's been a great industry. Like I have a unique experience. We all talk about great people. We talk about small industry communities. I have a unique experience to have been involved in 3 or 4 of those. There's great people out there to work with all over, multiple industries. The mortgage industry is just one of those as well. That it's been great to mix in the community over the last few years and made a lot of great friends. Most of my regular friends, a lot of my best friends are in this industry. I would have spent more time. I might not have made that move and stayed the course back in 1998. So,
if you weren't in mortgage, what would you be doing?
Well, if I wasn't 5'8" and I was 6'6", I would tell you that I would love to have played in the NBA, and you and I probably wouldn't be talking now. But that didn't happen too. I was probably a little slow even if I was 6'6". But if I said, what in the world would I have done? I have said it more than once. I would have been a country music singer.
Yeah, I would love you in network.
I would love, and I couldn't possibly sing to carry anybody to pay me a tip for anything, but I would love to have been on stage and I always say live the life of a Kenny Chesney. Just go and entertain a bunch of people and then kick back on the boat when I'm not doing some entertaining. That would be great, wonderful life for me. So I would have been a country music singer.
I could see you doing that. But I could see you doing that. You'd be great entertainer. Well, you always have good stories.
Let's hope, Faith, nothing ever happens that you don't get to see me do that entertainment. It probably won't be good for me.
Oh, last question. We're rolling into the holidays here. So by the time this airs, we'll be pretty close to Thanksgiving time, and then with Christmas right after that. Tell me what your favorite holiday food is.
Oh gosh, favorite holiday food. Well, it would be, desserts are a Achilles heel for me, and I have to really work at it. So for me, I would go to cake, and I would go to a coconut cake that and in particular, it's like if it's not like my great grandmother used to make it, it's probably not as good, but I really do like coconut cake. And so during the holidays, I will splurge. I intentionally, my wife will tell you that if there's sweets brought into the house, I'm going to eat them. So don't bring them. Okay. But in the holidays, we'll make an exception for that. And so it's great. But I love both Thanksgiving and Christmas. I have a large family, 5 children, a wonderful wife, and it's great in getting the kids along. They're growing up. So my youngest is 17, oldest 22. And they're starting to mature around that dad's not so uncool anymore. The teenage years, the dad's just not really that cool. And it's starting to come around that they're actually starting to pay attention to listen a little bit. So the holidays, I'm really looking forward, especially this holiday. I have a new home, and that we just finished some remodeling. It'll be our first holidays in the new home. And so it's going to be a really great time with the family. So looking forward to it.
Time for some new traditions in that new home.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you. You've been within TMC for a period of time, and I know that we consider you a great friend of ours and someone that we can lean on when we know we need something. We know we can call. So we really appreciate you, and I appreciate you doing this with me today. It's been fun.
Well, thank you. I consider the TMC folks my family, and anyone there and anyone within the TMC family and lenders especially that want to reach out and spend time. I'll share what I know. Sometimes that's not much. Sometimes it is helpful. So, but I'm glad to do it. It's been a great run. It's been helped me tremendously in my number of years in the mortgage industry. The connections, because I get to pick up the phone and call you and Tom and the rest of the crew and Rich and anybody else on the team, and I get a very quick response to where I'm trying to go. Most of the time, it's you connecting me somewhere else. You may not have the answer I'm looking for, but you always lead me in a great direction. So I appreciate it, and thank you. Look forward to many more years with you guys.
Absolutely. We do too. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks, Faith.